All right, this is the 75th IWAR Gold Strategy Workshop. Not the 74th as we did last time. I thought it was the 33rd because me, but I am wearing my lucky Samoan Death Grip t-shirt. So there you have it. Um,
Got the Young Bucks.
yeah,
Everybody's favorites.
yeah. Uh, I work with a guy who just he can't stand AEW, and I get it. It's fine. Everyone has their taste, but it's more of a case he just thinks everything I do is flawed. And I said, well, I do all I can to kind of you know, accept things that are growing and whatever. But man, Serena Deeb needs a mouthpiece manager, something fierce.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I
They
gotta tell you,
they tried this a year or two ago with her. Uh, is it Thunder Rosa that she had a pay-per-view match with?
yeah,
And they gave her like a 10-minute promo, and yeah, it went about the same.
right. So, all right. So this cycle is going to be the May cycle, the 75th episode, and we are going to see what we have for options. I
Mm-hmm.
say 27s across the board. Make Darren happy.
But we know that's not going to happen.
Oh, now you've ruined it for everyone.
Yeah, my bad.
It's all right.
All right. So let's start at the back. So we had a question first about
Yes.
what the ones and the twos
This
are.
is from Jimmy. Welcome, Jimmy. Yeah, he wanted to know
Okay.
what the decimal points mean and how he
Yep.
came to that point. So here we go.
So it's kind of the way to track what the hold has been doing. So if you look at like the 241s here, this one was a higher value the cycle before. So we call that the 41 1. The one that was worse will be the 2. Okay. Now, it's more important on certain holds than others. You'll notice the 45s of the previous cycle, that one tends to be more valuable to know. If we look over here, you'll see it has a little more of a pattern.
Right.
Like we know if Nandi was 45, it's going to probably be the 44. That helps with this pattern. But in general, you can kind of look at how those two are going, and it helps you get the point flow right at the end.
Yeah.
Um, and the 44 and the 43 are pretty important because you see things like the two weak holds. They're the rarest out of everything. Again, you get 44 1 typically being a 90 because it was the 44 the previous cycle.
Mhm.
So that's why it's skewed a little bit, but even on the other cycles, there's still a pretty high chance. I think it's probably pushing 70% that you don't see the two weak go. So that helps a little bit.
Mhm. So
Is
just
there
looking at
anything
this real quick,
perfect? Hmm.
just looking at this here, we often talk about the ones and the twos. So if we see gold, uh, how often does gold buck the trend? Is that something that happens a lot, or is it more the case that it always falls in line?
It used to be the most reliable. Like you remember, like these stretches, and it has gotten a little more shaky, but
Back when I was good.
yeah, like I said, it's I can use things like the two weak ones, and if I only have a couple wrestlers, I can cut that out. No big
Mhm.
deal if I miss because you're going to be right more often than not. The main thing is, like if I have the one single wrestler in the BWL, I'll always go with at least if you go with like the one and the one,
Yeah.
you're going to be right. Like we'll take this sample here.
Mhm.
Let's go all the way down to here. What is that one? It's at 20. So this is 20. So you're going to miss 1, 2, 3, 4. 17 out of 20 cycles, you'll get at least 145 right. So your strat won't be too bad. Um, if you did both ones, you would have had 7 cycles where you got both right. So it's not necessarily that you should always go in on just the ones, but
Mhm.
they're your safer holds. So just a little bit there. There's nothing exact about it, but it's mostly like everything else we've said, where there's just greater than 50% chances.
Yeah.
So it helps a little bit.
I will say, it was a question I remember somebody asked me, and I meant to ask the last couple shows.
Mhm.
And it's probably more of a question for Johnny B. But do you know if there's any reason why, in particular, that hold number 25 and hold number 90 are the iron adamantium holds, if you will, whatever the
No idea.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm always
that
curious about that.
that happened when I wasn't playing in between, so I don't know if there was an actual reason or if it just.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to go. I was trying to find some old stuff for Darren in my archives, and he asked me if I had like a copy of the hold values. I know I do somewhere, but I just couldn't find it. And I was like, I'll have to go digging. But
Let's see.
I just popped in my head, so like I better ask while I'm thinking of it because I always do that. Because people laugh at me because they're like, oh, at work sometimes when I have time to kill, I gotta stand there like a puppet. I do notes all the time. And you go, oh, sorry, cat. And you game notes, life notes, things to do. And one of the things was, oh my God, someone asked me that question the other day. So I remember to write it down. Didn't want to forget because I will forget.
Yeah, this goes back to like 2013,
Oh, that
and
was a question the other day I
it was
got.
going on then.
Rob asked me, Capish Rob asked, how far back do people go with their record keeping, with like, like archiving the holds? And I think a follow-up question that would be, how far back do you go to consider the information still relevant? Like, do you sit there and go, what, like for instance, I
Yeah.
track the last 15 cycles. That's all I track in
Mhm.
gold and only the top holds.
Usually
Uh,
mine's like right here.
mhm.
I look at, what is this? Probably like 2 years. If it's more than 2 years, it's probably not valuable.
Okay.
Uh, Things slowly change with the IWA, and yeah, I would trust maybe like the last year and a half, and that's about it.
I heard at one point some rookie was like, this is a couple years ago, was like, oh, do you have the last 5 years of records? I'm like,
So
no, I
yeah, I mean,
probably do,
if,
but
if somebody wants them just to see them,
I
yeah, I
bet
got them.
Derek has them.
I've, I've got further back than this somewhere, but yeah, this file goes back. It says about 200 cycles, so that's 10 years, 11 years.
Yeah. Holy moly.
But there's no reason. It's just I keep adding to it and don't delete anything. So I still I still actually have there's some notebooks in the garage. It's with the graph paper
The
charts,
handheld.
because that's how you had to do it in the 90s.
Oh my God, you monster.
Yeah. Uh, so yeah, I feel like there's a little value in being able to manage the previous 45s on 14 and 15 with the 1 and 2, and you get a little bit out of knowing if you're having to choose between two, go with the stronger on this section that's going to go to the 45s.
Okay.
Uh, this one right here, though, I've stared at it. There's not really a pattern. I've not seen one in any. Like you see, you got a 1-1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-1-1-1-2, 1-2. Just no real logic to it.
Yeah.
Um, the main thing about 41s and 42s is just picking between a 41 and a 42.
Right.
You're kind of guessing when you get it down to which two out of those four. Think that cover it? You think?
I think so. I mean,
All right.
breaking down and Scott and I'll talk about it sometimes, like, like as far like it's like staring at that calendar at the mall with the it looks like a giant orange blurb or blob, and it's actually a sailboat. Once you see it, once you
Yeah,
figure out the pattern and kind of
it's a
how it
squinter.
works, yeah, the
It's nice.
matrix. So
Let's see. Oh, I do think we go with a 42.
Yeah.
Let's go to this one. So you'll see that the first two feds both had a 42 go to 44. The last time the first two were the same and gold was not was like 4 or 5 years ago. Usually you'll see, if these two are split, it could be either one. But yeah, if you had like two 42s, this is going to be 42. If this is 41, 41, this is going to be 41. It's, you got to go off it's way down here. But it's been years since it's not followed the first two. So uh, could this be the one that happens? Maybe. But that's enough to not go against it for me. So I would go with one of the 42s here. And the great thing, we know that 90 is the 44 one. So it's going to be our hold right here. And we know that we have both of last cycle's 45s right here. And it could be either option on, one or two, two or one.
Right.
And then we'll use one of the two 42s. But that means there's only four backs because this can be.
Right. Is this a cycle 90 goes to 41?
No.
The heel turn by the IWA. Johnny B, no.
Yeah. They don't want those emails.
Kim has lost her mind. And in her madness, she's declared war on everyone who would email her. 29, 26, huh? I'll never play again. See you tomorrow. I used to work at Home Depot. I remember years ago, I was working returns. And my favorite thing was contractors would come in. They'd be like, just a-holes. And they'd be like, you better take this back. You know how much money I spent here? And then when they wouldn't get their way, they'd be like, I'm out of here. You'll never see me again. See you tomorrow. All right. You know how much money I spent here? Well, that's what you steal. Oh. Oh, man. All right. So I just got a
All right.
message from the IWAR locker room asking about, are you going to post this? Do it live? No.
I don't know how the technology works.
I don't. I'm sure there's a way to do it, and we could do like some sort of like share screen, whatnot.
Mhm.
But this just works. We're doing this through Zoom. We record it live, so it's just goofs, whatever. I used to try to edit stuff out, and I was like, "F this." Um, I mean, it's just us sitting here talking about IWA. And some guy's like, "Oh, well, sir, we were going to think about you for the Senate candidacy, but we saw you took the 42 one." No, it was obvious. You should have taken the 41 one. Yeah. So bells and whistles. I told him to fire off any more questions. I'll try to keep an eye
All
on
right.
it.
Good deal. Yeah, I
Uh,
see it pop up, but you
yeah.
can't read it.
Right. The big stock topic tonight was Hacksaw Jim Duggan or JYD, bigger impact. And I would say I think JYD had a bigger impact early on, but Hacksaw had a longer lasting impact because he didn't die. Um,
Mhm.
what? You said it was 88 he was in there? Because he remember he feuded with the King.
84 to 88
That's how long
is
he was in
when
there?
JYD and
Man,
Hexaw was there for 6 years.
that's all it was?
Mhm.
Oh, I felt like a lot longer. I guess
Hexaw won a Royal Rumble as well. I feel like that alone.
my
The
memory
first
of
one.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, I think it was the first Slammies or some award show, but him and Holly Race brawled the whole entire show, and I've always loved that. I've always felt AEW should just have like Brandon Cutler and somebody else like fight backstage, and this is a running gag. Always have a clip of them like somewhere in the back fighting, so it just never ends. There's always fighting in the back. Like it doesn't have to be like a big, like a small little nuanced thing. I like jokes like that. Anyways, getting back to our back end here. So we know 67 is the dead hold because 90's at 44,
Mhm.
which is a nice little advantage. And we often talk about taking the 41s or 42s, but you explained why to take 42s. I'm going to take the 42s, roll the dice. I mean, worst case scenario, if I do hit a 42 and it's not, it's probably still a 44 or at least a 43. So I wouldn't be too skunked.
Yeah,
But
like I said, it's knowing the first two had it. We've been just blindly following that for years, and
yeah,
it's correct. It's what it is.
as Bill Belichick would say,
Yep.
Mr. Excitement, Mr. Electricity, Bill Belichick. Um, yeah.
We'll leave this here. So, 73 or 65 can be here,
Mm-hmm.
and 85 or 61 here. So we'll leave it at 4 options because that's at the point where we're guessing on just that small percentage, or we're going to go look at the hold and just go with our gut. Nothing's really going to tell us exactly which one of those two to do.
Yeah, I can see this being a cycle where people score really high, but don't have perfect point flows because there's such
Mm-hmm.
improductive, which I think is fine, you know.
Yep.
And people like every so often new players will say like, why do people flood? And I'm like, because it works. Like if you have more numbers to work with, you can get more strategy coverage. And then it comes the thing of like, if you have umpteen wrestlers, you might strike it rich with one of them. But I've been trying to do is instead of doing that wide net, I try to focus down to like those like we're doing here. We're trying to focus down on what our
Mm-hmm.
actual best options are, and then populate with like some options, and maybe one of those guys do it. And like Scott and I were talking how like Monster Truck Tanaka just does really well, and I keep giving him, what I think will do well, but I try to go with what I consider like the most like my gut feeling too. I always say if your gut tells you like play whatever, then do it. And that's why I was kicking myself last cycle because I usually would play 31-33. That's like a I don't say it's a superstition with me, but like it's one of those combos. I'm like, oh, 31-33. And I can't believe I didn't bombard that number. If I did, I would have been much better off. But that's why you play the game. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Did he pass away?
Uh, the announcer?
Yeah,
Hold on. You did.
that's Chris Berman, right? No.
No, Chris Berman's still alive.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right, I can rest better.
Although I will say, if you want a good laugh, if you like the old Tecmo Bowl, I think it was
Mm-hmm.
Tecmo Bowl, the old line, someone at work said this to me. I almost pissed myself laughing because I forgot about this when they used to have cheap shots and like you could sack the quarterback late and they'd be like, and you like, oh no, there's a man down. It was Pat Summerall, this his fog. Sorry. Oh man. Also remember anybody listening or watching this right now, if you have a question that pops in your head during this, and just put it in the comment section. Uh, I
Mm-hmm.
do want to announce small little victory here, 100 subscribers. So 100 people apparently watch this. I'm sorry. We're sorry. We do our best.
Yeah,
So
we try.
all right.
All
So
right. Now the front.
right.
So right now we've got 4 backs. We know that from last cycle we can take out 27, 26. That's what gold was.
Yeah.
2 cycles ago we can take out the 27s. From still we can take out 28, 27. We can not use these because they have hole 25 in it, and that's not going to go. And we can take this one out because that is the 225s from 2 cycles ago,
Right.
which happens like 2% of the time.
Yeah.
You see the yeses are when they happened. So we're going to probably have one this year. Yes. Not worth trying to guess that though. Just accept the miss if it happens.
I really hope
I
when I
hope you
hit
only
that,
miss one.
I'll be the only one with a 501. You'll
Yeah.
see.
So
I'm
what
gonna
is
have
that? One, two,
I'm gonna have
three,
15 cycles of Suck City. But yeah.
11. That's 11 fronts already, just off that. That means there's only 44 options.
The IWAR guarantee. IWAR Gold Workshop guarantee. 484 or better. Or your
I
money
mean,
back.
like I'm trying to think. I think the worst I've done is 47.
Really?
And yeah, in
Without
any
doubling a hold?
IWR league, yeah. Oh yeah, I mean doubling a hold, yeah, you'll get down, but it's got to be like a perfect, like you missed a 30, you missed a 45, you missed another 45. You don't usually miss all that.
Yeah. I find I
So
double hold when I do my strategies too late, and I'm like really tired. I'm like, ah. And then Scott will be like, oh, because we're usually up talking late while I'm doing that last minute IWA stuff. But
yeah, we
ah,
can take this a little further.
done.
Um, Everybody remembers the whole 28-28. The last two times it's been, is it like 34 cycles and 28 cycles or something in between?
Yeah.
So do we really think it's going to happen 6 cycles apart?
Well,
Probably no.
34 minus 28 plus 5 divided by 3 equals 6. And then take that number, and that's why I'm not doing it. Yeah, if you don't play 28s,
Let's get down to
26s,
10.
and whatnot.
And I'm going to stay strong on not using 26s again because, as we've talked about, we have a lot of double drops already. We've had three.
Mm,
And as we go back to last year, we had what, four total? No, we had three total.
yeah,
2 years ago, one, two, three. One, two, two. So
yeah.
unless this is the year that we get a lot more, are they really going to give us a fourth one by May? Probably not. So I'm
Johnny
gonna
B's cackling.
cancel
I'll
that one
show
out.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
Just kidding, Johnny B.
I mean, it can happen, but
Yeah.
like again, unless you just want to go against things that you shouldn't. So what is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, none. Look at that. Already down to 36 without really looking at anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where we would stay. So really, you just got to narrow in one of these.
Hmm.
And yeah, you got four backs to choose from. If I had, I've got 12, so I'll probably go with three here and all four of these. I really just don't like making decisions on the back when it's like that. I'd rather just pick one of these. I feel like I have better odds that way. Every time I eliminate a back, that's the one that hits. So
We we have Catfish Rob chimes in. We see a top 10 average or top 10 leagues in every report. How about a top 10 average for the top 10 leagues at the end of the year? I hope you get what I mean. I think I do. Uh that would be
what's that?
IWA coverage, right? We wouldn't be doing that.
So
And
you're
then
saying like just average activity
I think
for
like
all
the course of
17
the year,
cycles?
like who had the most, whatever. I'll
It
just
probably look a basically what it does each cycle. I don't think it changes much, does it?
the answer is the BRL. So there it is.
Yeah.
And someone Darren chimed in with will there be another split? Sometime there will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to see what he's talking about because I didn't think there was one. Oh, is he talking about the three in a row? Okay. Yeah. Because there wasn't one in still, but
Oh, I see what you're
I
saying.
mean, it's happened a few times where four in a row have went, but that's pretty rare.
Yeah. Did you
I
see the
think you can't
discussion?
play the odds and go against it.
Did you see the discussion about the DQ and the count out rule?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know how that
It,
plays out? Because I always thought at the end of the match, if the point spread hit that point, that's when it was qualified. I didn't know it could happen during the match.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I've never actually
Johnny
asked
B, you're
or
listening.
seen. Yeah. So we need to get clarification on that.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like it's during the match it can happen, but I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah. I one time, behind the scenes, I lobbied them to lower the points to make it more common with like wrestlers, they're like
Mhm.
doing well. I didn't realize when I looked at that money component that when you get disqualified, you lose money. So I guess that would be a deterrent to doing a lower number.
Mhm.
Um, I do like the fact they have the whole thing where the random like you know uh, interference or something, wrestler referee. I've always felt it'd be good to like throw an extra one in there and have it be like, okay, if you have a certain point total, let's say 9 or well, I don't know, 11, whatever it is, something that could happen, but like, you could have a thing saying distracted by blank or outside interference from so and so. And if a
Mhm.
player wants to take it and run with it, they can do that. Who knows? It's not my problem. I've done all I can do, really.
So I just saw the question about what a split is.
Yes,
Um, so on a multi, I think everybody, it was in our video. So you have to basically, you don't have to, but the easiest way to hit is you mirror the hold. So like wrestler one gets a 29 here, the other 29 at two, and the other wrestler will get the opposite 29 here and the other one here, so that a 29 hits, you've got it covered over both wrestlers.
right.
And that's typically how you do it. But with the split, that means one of the holds is going to be a 30, 29, or 28. If you have it mirrored, you're going to miss, because if it's a 30 and a 29, you need the hold here and
Right.
here. Um, you see, it's not the most common. There's a greater chance that you won't see one, but you do see them,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some more common than others. Um, the ones the past few cycles here a little less common.
Right.
Typically, you'll see something go to. Actually, a few of these aren't looking that great, but that's okay. I'll just explain it in general, because yeah, like this is the more common one to me, where it goes to a 29 with a 26 or 27. Those are the ones you can work around easier. Because like if you think it's going to be 29, 27, 26, or 29, 26, 27,
Right.
then you can kind of stagger those and you still have a chance to hit. Um, the ones where it goes to 28, like you're seeing actually the past few here, those are a little tougher to figure out. Um, and they weren't as common, but looks like they're actually happening a little more. In general, though, if you only have one team, you probably shouldn't do a split. You're
Right.
just increasing your likelihood of missing at least a non-perfect point flow. So,
Yeah, I've done that where I've staggered like the 30s, right?
mhm.
So I pepper them, I mirror them for like, if you will, and then I don't, have them like whatever, perfect. So it's one of those things that the advantage is you're covering your bases. The disadvantage is if it splits, then you get
Mhm.
forked. So
Because if you split it, say like one of the 27s and one of the 28s, if you staggered those two, there's a chance you get like a 25 and a 26 out of it. But what's the odds, unless it's a double drop, that both of the 28s are bad or both of the 27s are bad? That's pretty low. So
yeah,
there's less of a chance of a low score. But yeah, people tend to fixate on that a little bit. It can be frustrating when it happens, but it's see, I'm trying to think. Your options, I think if you look at just like a standard, actually, I might have it on a sheet. Let's see here. All right. So just the standard combinations, if there isn't a split,
hmm.
there's only
Nope.
47 tag combinations. Okay.
Yeah,
With splits, there's out of a split that's hit before, I think it was like 260 or something. So your odds of being able to figure it out go way down. Stick with these.
yeah.
This this is actually how I used to do tag as well. I
Hmm.
would take this list and I would start looking at the obvious things like where is hold 25, and if it's going to be a 90, then you just put the ones with a 29 in it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you think a 30 is going to hit, then you just pull the ones with a 30, and before you know it, you can narrow down tag to 3 or 4 options with
Right.
just basic things like that. Is that more?
This they're talking. Darren's talking about examples of multis and how it messes up things. So, yeah, that's the bane of his existence.
Yeah.
So, tough luck. Um, yeah, but I mean, we always like having questions or suggestions or
Mhm.
ideas, and we talked before about how it's a good way to uh diversify your roster by having one of your wrestlers. You take one of them and you team up with 2 other players, so you have three. Each of you have a wrestler, but you're not overdoing it, and just take a shot.
Mhm.
See how it goes. Um, so I can't see by your screen how much time. I think we have about 8 minutes left, but
It's actually, oh, there it is. They moved it.
those
It's over here.
bastards.
Yeah. Used to be over on the left side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of it, though. It's focus on those 4 backs,
Yep. And
none fronts, just a little
and
more information. We, for what, 2 years, we talked about the previous, like 2 cycles ago, a 25, and if it hits,
mm-hmm.
uh, that one's gotten to where it's not worth using it right now.
Yeah.
It's below 50% on being able to guess based on what
Mm-hmm.
we did know.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, it's not going to be reliable. You just be you'd be making a guess with it. So I've left it here just so we can kind of watch it. But
Yeah.
based on what's happened, we used to get what, the 4 in a row, the 3, 4, 5, 6, things like that. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, it's gotten to where I wouldn't even try to use it as a guess. If you were though, 1, 2, 3. It's actually in most of our options, isn't it?
It is.
Well,
So
not most. 5 out of 9. So it's almost a 50-50 still that way.
yeah. Yeah, but hey, it's okay.
Hmm. So we need to find something new to try to track that has like a. We're just looking for something that does 70, 65% of the time. So if
There.
anybody has any thoughts, I can build a little thing for next cycle and we'll see
Nice.
if they're right.
All right.
Right. Yeah, I think that's about it.
All right. Well, thank you much.
Mhm.
All right, guys, this is going to be the May cycle 75th episode. Like and subscribe, leave your comments below, and we'll do this again in a few weeks. Good luck to everybody on Tuesday, unless you're in my leagues. All right, man. Thanks a lot again, and we'll do it again soon.
All right.
All right.
See you.
Bye. Oh, I almost forgot. Oh, I made these, and they're going to be getting sent to some of the players. And if you want one, ask. I'll try to do what I can do. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We will see you in a few weeks. Stay safe.